look, we're involved in a war all over the world. Nobody feels like it's a war because, I mean, think after 9/11, and the public is wanting to do something. And what were we told to do? Go shopping. I mean, any rational human being watching the political process realizes it's a mess. We have a war against ISIS that everybody says we should fight. And when I say everybody, I mean all the politicians who are still in it. And even Rand Paul, it wasn't quite clear how we would not end up fighting it, but I had some faith that that's where he was looking to go. But in essence, it's not a declared war because Congress doesn't want to declare it. It's not really an authorized war, but the administration pretends it's authorized. But of course, it's pretty obvious that the administration isn't really fighting it in any sense that would. There's no, it's not deliberately being prosecuted. And of course, I think we ought to get out of the Middle East. I think we're nuts to be over there. I think we could win every war we fight over there, and it would still be a mess. And the moment we left, it would be clear it was a mess. I mean, we can police every street. We can, tell everybody to stand up straight and look nice. But we have not changed the nature of any of those countries, and they're not ready. We're not offering our system of government, but they certainly wouldn't choose it if they got to choose. And it's a mess. And yet, look at this presidential campaign. You can say you're just going to blow out of them, or you're going to carpet bomb them, and then you can walk that back as you figure out what carpet bombing even means. And if we're successful in this war, what do we get? When can we leave? I mean, and I do. I bitch and moan about the media a lot, and I recognize I have high expectations. They don't, they don't just work for me. But why haven't they asked some questions like, okay, let's say you win and you defeat ISIS. When after that would all the American troops be coming home and Iraq would be a fine place, right? No, it wouldn't. There'd still be the same pressure for a Sunni homeland there and the same terrorist type, tactics and everything else. And look at Afghanistan. I saw an article the other day that I was doing a little research, and it was back from when Obama was deciding to leave some troops there, and he said the headline is why we can't leave Afghanistan and why we can't stay. And it's we could be there another 50 years, and I'm convinced the moment we left, the Taliban be back, the country, the nation building impetus is really stupid because we've never done it successfully, and we ought to not be in the Middle East, and yet that's not even really an issue. All the politicians, and I'm including Sanders and Hillary, even Bernie Sanders, would think someone that far to the left would actually be good on some foreign policy issues. And he didn't vote for the war in Iraq, so I'll give him credit for that. But why don't we have anyone stand up and say, hey, let's get out of the Middle East? And not just because it's a mess now, but because we have no plan for how we would change the dynamic there. Nobody has offered any plan for how we win, whatever that means, and in my view of winning, it means being able to leave. And nobody has, not only have they not shown us how we would actually win in any meaningful sense, but how that meaningful sense would actually allow us to leave. Because I don't want my great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren patrolling the streets of Baghdad and being killed by folks who don't like some foreign occupation force.